All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about a part of you that, honestly, you probably don't think about much, but it's secretly running the entire show. Yep, we're talking about your gut. Think of it as the command center for your entire well-being.
Now, I know this sounds a little dramatic, right? All disease begins in the gut. But get this. This isn't some new age idea. We're talking about the ancient Greek physician Hippocrates, who said this over 2,000 years ago. And what's wild is that modern science is just now catching up, proving just how right he was. It really shows that the path to health or disease, it truly begins right there.
Okay, so let's get into what this command center is all about, because it's so much more than just a digestive tube. It's this bustling, hidden world, a whole ecosystem living inside you that's absolutely critical to how you feel day in and day out. So, instead of picturing some simple organ, I want you to imagine a vibrant, thriving rainforest. Yeah, inside you. It's packed with this incredible diversity of life. And here's the key. The more varied and balanced this internal ecosystem is, the stronger and more resilient you become. So just how much life are we talking about here? The number is trillions. I mean, just let that sink in. Trillions. That's the staggering number of microbes. We're talking bacteria, fungi, viruses that call your gut home. It's a number so vast, it's almost impossible to really wrap your head around. And to put that number, trillions, into perspective for you, you have roughly as many microbial cells inside you as you have human cells. I mean, think about that for a second. In a very, very real sense, you're not just a person. You're a walking ecosystem. You are as much microbe as you are human. Isn't that wild?
In this internal crew, they do so much more than just help you digest your lunch. I mean, so much more. They're like these tiny little vitamin factories, churning out essential nutrients. They're the drill sergeants that train your immune system. And they even act as your personal bodyguards, protecting you 24/7 from harmful invaders.
But what happens when that thriving internal rainforest gets thrown out of whack? What happens when it's out of balance? Well, that's when your body's command center can start to rebel.
The scientific term for this whole mess is dysbiosis. It sounds complicated, but it's really a simple idea for a complex problem. Basically, the good microbes get outnumbered and overwhelmed by the bad ones, and that leads to this state of chronic, low-grade inflammation, which, by the way, researchers are now linking to a huge range of modern diseases.
So, the big question is, what's knocking our internal ecosystem off balance in the first place? You know, how does this whole dysbiosis thing even get started?
Well, the culprits are probably going to sound pretty familiar. We're talking about the chronic stress of modern life, which we all feel. The overuse of antibiotics, which, they can be lifesavers, but they're also like a nuke to our internal rainforest. And of course, a diet that's heavy in processed foods and sugar, which is basically superfuel for all the bad guys.
Now, this imbalance, it has a real physical consequence. It can actually damage the lining of your intestines, creating these microscopic gaps. This is what people often call leaky gut. And it's a big deal because it lets things like toxins and undigested food particles slip right into your bloodstream, which then triggers even more inflammation all over your body.
And this really brings us to the bigger picture. Because the health of your gut doesn't just stay in your gut. No way. It's constantly sending out messages and influencing literally every other system in your body.
Let's take your immune system, for example. Get this, about 70% of it is located right there, in and around your gut. The training for your immune cells starts the moment you're born. It's so critical, in fact, that some studies suggest that babies born via C-section who miss out on some key microbes from the birth canal might have a higher risk of things like allergies and asthma. A strong, well-trained immune system really does start with a healthy gut.
And then there's the mind-blowing connection to your brain. You've heard the phrase, a gut feeling, right? Well, that's not just a saying. That's the gut-brain axis in action. It's like a constant, two-way superhighway of information. Your brain sends stress signals down to your gut, and at the same time, your gut is busy producing over 90% of your body's serotonin. That's the famous neurotransmitter that helps keep your mood stable and happy.
So, when the conversation along that highway gets disrupted by dysbiosis, well, it has a direct impact on your mental well-being. It's really no surprise that an unhappy gut can contribute to feelings of anxiety, depression, and that frustrating, fuzzy-headed feeling we all call brain fog.
Okay, I know this might all sound a bit daunting, but here's the really exciting part. Science is finally catching up to all of this, and the future of medicine? It may very well revolve around understanding this incredible, hidden world that we all have inside of us.
One of the most powerful, and I mean groundbreaking, therapies out there is something called fecal microbiota transplantation, or FMT. Now, I know, it sounds pretty strange, but it's basically a reboot for the gut. You're essentially transferring a complete, healthy microbiome from a healthy donor to a patient to completely restore that crucial balance.
And the results? They are absolutely stunning. For treating certain recurrent, life-threatening infections like C. diff, FMT has a success rate between 80 and 95%. Think about that. It just shows you how incredibly powerful restoring that microbial balance can be.
But listen, you don't need some cutting-edge medical procedure to start improving your gut health. So let's wrap this up with your personal playbook, some simple yet powerful steps you can take to strengthen your body's foundation, starting today.
Okay, it all starts with what you eat. First, you got to feed your good microbes. They love fiber, so fill up on a wide variety of fruits, veggies, and whole grains. Second, bring in some reinforcements by eating fermented foods. We're talking yogurt, kimchi, sauerkraut, things that are packed with beneficial bacteria. Third, you want to starve the bad guys. So that means cutting back on processed sugar and artificial stuff, which is their favorite junk food. But it's not just about what's on your plate. Fourth, you got to manage that gut-brain highway. Prioritize sleep and find ways to relax to lower those stress signals. And finally, number 5, you could consider targeted probiotics for some extra support, but only if it really makes sense for your specific needs. Look, these are small choices, but when you make them consistently, they can lead to enormous results.
So, there you have it. The foundation of your health, your body's true command center, is this thriving world right inside of you. And it's just waiting for your direction. The only question left is, are you ready to take charge?